In the event Trump wins, and there is more and more reason to believe that he will, by virtue of the news account saying that there's no way he can win, that means he's going to win. That means they fear that he's going to win. But if Trump wins, you are going to see a version of what used to be called the color revolution. You are going to be seeing a torrent, a cacophony, a cataclysm of folks on the various streets and campuses and the like, screaming that what we are seeing is some form of post-Trumpian authoritarianism, some barbarism and the like. You will hear claims of electoral fraud by the very same people who call you an election denier were you to, or when you suggest that 2020 may have been stolen or purloined. You will see a variety of human rights and civil rights violations on the part of an impending Trump administration, almost a prospective, anticipatory type of retaliation and the like. You're going to claim, as is usually the case, mindless and baseless allegations of kleptocratic shenanigans. You're going to hear claims of political corruption and the like. You're going to then see, as a result, orchestrated, very thoroughly choreographed examples of both civil disobedience and active civil disorder, rioting, disruption. Think George Floyd meets Antifa meets what we are seeing right now on college campuses. You're going to see internal activism and the like, internet rather, activism. But I mean disruptive, not just people sending out tweets and memes. I'm talking about very active, proactive internet activism and the like. You're going to be seeing, as we are seeing right now, student activism and violence. And by the way, let me explain something to you, and this is also very, very critical to grasp and to understand. George Soros is the figurehead. He is the bad guy. He is the heel. George Soros is no more responsible for the horrors that have befallen this country, as is the man in the moon. If you know the name of somebody, they are not involved in what and who is involved in this. George Soros may be the front man. He may be the fall guy. He may be the active participant. He may be laying out the bread for this. But he actively and knowingly and willfully and intentionally is taking the helm as the person responsible for the choreographed horror that we saw a while back, specifically involving the selection of these absolute traitor DAs. Listen to me carefully. And what you're seeing right now on college campuses is the precursor, the dress rehearsal, kind of working out the kinks of campus activism. And all you have to do is tell these folks, theoretically, this is the official line, that a Trump administration will necessarily be, remember, this is the line that is given, a proliferation, a continuation, an active resurgence in either pro-Israel or anti-Palestinian or anti-Gazan, whatever the narrative is. Whatever it takes these people to go berserk. Now, as I speak with you right now, as I'm recording this, as of this moment right now, as of today, we have 191 days, okay, Think about that. 6 months. That is an eye blink. And that may surprise people, but that is an eye blink in terms of what is and what can happen. And what you were seeing is not necessarily these active, independent examples of activity and disruption and violence and activism and yelling. No. This is getting you going, both acclimated to what's going on, getting you used to, oh, this is just an active. Oh, okay, these are college kids. We haven't seen these college kids in a while. Remember a while back we had things like pardon my French, the pussy hat marches. Remember that? Nobody could still to this day figure out what was that about. And it kind of, sort of, maybe backed off. And then there was the Black Lives Matter rioting in conjunction with the George Floyd protests over his death. That was the cover story, followed by, and this is important, the introduction of Antifa. Remember what Antifa is. This is the shock troop goon squad, the brown shirts. These are the activists, the domestic terrorists who are ready to go and can be brought in at a moment's notice. Very, very organized and very, very scripted and very, very prone to targeted, systematic, and deliberate attacks, violence, disruption of city life and traffic, destruction of personal property, storefront. All of a sudden, for example, you see this incredible organization, pallets of bricks strategically delivered to be used as brickbats and missiles. And I mean, all of this has been leading up to this because what will happen either upon a Trump reelection or if threats of a reelection become too serious, too obvious, and too imminent, especially if his winning margin is large enough or big enough that a steal cannot be made, a la Philly. Keep your eyes on Philly. And something that cannot be disrupted by an RFK theoretical spoiler vote. Remember, when RFK is on the ballot somewhere, and if Biden wins, they're going to say, oh, it's RFK. It's not that it's true. It's not that it's going to happen. It's not that the particular votes will be valid and warranted. It's what you're going to be told. And you're most likely going to say, well, that makes sense. And they don't really care whether you agree with it or not, or whether you are satisfied with this. But understand, bottom line is simply this. There is going to be a mini version, a domestic World War III, if Trump wins. They are not going to go gently and quietly and peacefully into that good night. They are not. You don't understand. They feel so empowered. They've had 4 years of the most savage, inconceivable disruption of rational democracy. They are not, repeat, they are not going to let you come along and ruin their party with this Trump guy. Because you think this is some kind of a democracy. You think your vote counts. You think that if you're organized and if you're rallied around the cause and if you show up to vote, that democracy will swing your way this time, right? That's what you believe. You don't know these people. They're not ruthless. They're vicious. They will stop at nothing. And no matter what happens, think of the worst cacophony of riot and color revolution mania. Nobody's going to say, oh, this is a false flag. These are a bunch of agents provocateurs blaming Trump. No, people are going to say, see, I knew we shouldn't have voted for that guy. I knew. And then the same people, and listen to me, the same people who chided you for daring to support a J6 type of operation are going to be advocating a January 6th-esque switcheroo of Donald Trump. Watch what happens. A complete and total reversal, upheaval, discontinuation, ablation, abrogation, dismissal, reversal, whatever you want to call it. You're going to hear constitutional methodologies you never even thought possible. The same people who are calling you an election denier are not only going to deny, but they're going to disrupt and redirect what will be his reelection. Watch this. Watch this. And do you know what the Republicans are doing now in preparation of this? Nothing. Nothing. They're watching Fox News. They're saying, we're going to win because we're right. And because what they don't have is that killer instinct. And it's not the Democrats who have that. It's the shadow government, this virus that basically took over this party host. Think about that, dear friends. Think about that carefully. Think about that, dear, carefully, as I should say, as you should. And I hope that you, and I ask you to subscribe to the channel, hit that little like button and everything else, and comment. Comment as you see fit.